Most major world religions center around a single primary text. Hinduism does not. If you sought out its foundational scriptures, that single book would immediately multiply into a sprawling, labyrinthine library. This collection contains hundreds of thousands of verses, composed, memorized, and debated over several millennia. Facing this massive ocean of information, a seeker's first challenge is figuring out how to navigate it without getting completely lost. To solve this, ancient scholars organize the text using a high-level binary that splits the library into two categories, the divine and the human. This diagram maps out the first category, known as Shruti. Shruti translates to that which is heard, and it represents pure, unauthored divine revelation. On the other side is Smrti, meaning that which is remembered. Smrti contains human tradition, codified memory, and written laws. This division explains how ancient Indian thought evolved from abstract philosophy into daily practice. Following the Shruti branch, it splits into four main trunks: the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas. These texts hold the highest authority. For centuries, they were passed down through a strict oral tradition, carefully preserving the exact pitch and rhythm of every syllable. The philosophical culmination of these Vedas is found in texts called the Upanishads. The word Upanishad roughly translates to sitting down near, referring to a student sitting near a teacher to receive knowledge. Inside the Upanishads, you find abstract inquiries into the nature of reality, the eternal soul, and the origins of the cosmos. They explore the idea that the individual self, or Atman, is deeply connected to the universal consciousness, or Brahman. But knowing the metaphysical truth of the universe doesn't tell you how to build a house, govern a state, or cure a fever. Looking back at our diagram, ancient scholars built practical tools to decode the Vedas, generating a new set of texts called the Vedangas. Vedangas translates to the limbs of the Veda. These structural manuals taught the rules of grammar, poetic meter, and the astrology required to time rituals correctly. From there, the system expanded into the Upavedas, or applied sciences, adapting divine principles for worldly use. This produced Ayurveda, the science of medicine, nutrition, and maintaining the physical body. It also produced texts like the Arthashastra, covering economics and statecraft, and the Dhanaveda, the science of warfare. The Hindu scriptural system recognized that achieving spiritual liberation requires a stable society and a healthy human body. If we swing our focus to the right side of the map, to the Smriti branch, we address a different problem. The Vedas were far too esoteric for the everyday person to understand. To solve this, scholars composed the Itihasas. This term translates to "thus it happened," and it categorizes massive epics like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Through engaging, heroic narratives of warring families and exiled kings, these texts taught moral duty to audiences who would never read a philosophical treatise. This branch also contains the Puranas, which provided the masses with rich cosmic mythology and accessible tales dedicated to specific deities like Shiva and Vishnu. The result of these accessible texts was widespread devotion, turning high philosophy into living cultural phenomena that still draw millions to festivals today. To house this worship, the Smriti tradition produced the Agamas. These are specific manuals that dictate the architectural rules for building temples and conducting daily rituals. Through stories, laws, and architecture, the Smriti tradition translated high-minded philosophy into the actionable culture of everyday people. Looking at this entire taxonomic map, the complexity of the categorized library becomes clear. But why did the ancient sages construct such a segmented literary ecosystem? The architecture is built around the concept of an entry point. The system acknowledges that human minds are diverse, so it provides a custom access point to truth for every type of intellect. A philosopher can find meaning in the abstract Upanishads. A ruler can study the strategies of the Arthashastra, and a householder can connect with the devotional stories in the Puranas. Regardless of the entry point a seeker chooses, the goal of the entire system remains the same: individual self-realization. These scriptures serve as a comprehensive,